Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome. We are back with another episode of the Career Pivot series. I am your host, Ibiemi. I am a career transition coach, just helping people navigate pivots in their career. So, this series, if you've been paying attention, we're doing once a week. We're talking to someone that has made a pretty massive career pivot, and they're just going to talk through like what it took for them to do that mentally and like the struggles of what, making a pivot actually is, and then where they started and where they're at now. Today, we are speaking with the one and only Kelly Bowie. I'm going to invite him on in a second, but very, very excited to have this conversation. Kelly has made some bold pivots, and he's someone that I do admire. So it's going to be really interesting to get to some of the reasons why he's made this pivot and all the things that are involved with that. So welcome to the stage, Kelly. Hi, Kelly. Oh, you're on mute, of course.
Yeah, of course, right? Technology gets the best of all.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's so nice to see you.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me. Looking forward to chatting. All right.
Amazing. Kelly's doing us a solid because he's on the West Coast. So it is early over there on a Saturday. And
Yeah.
we were just talking about how both of us have already had really busy weekends. And it's only Saturday morning. So if you're joining us here at a Saturday morning, that's great. If you're not, you can catch the replay. No shade. I get it. Right. So Kelly, tell us just a little bit more about your background and the pivot that you made.
My background. So I think I'm just gonna try to give a synopsis, but I think anyone who wants to learn more about me can find me on LinkedIn, Kelly Bowie. But my background is in engineering. At
Mhm.
least that's where I started my professional career in engineering. I worked there for a number of years. Fortunately enough, I was able to dabble into different spaces from automotive manufacturing all the way to like nuclear, robotics and automation, IT, and these days in clean tech, right? But right now, I work as a technical project manager because after working a number of years as an engineer, I
Mhm.
knew the next phase of my career was something bigger, something with more leadership um, responsibilities and more access to decision makers. So I decided to transition to project management. So yeah, so that's my background. Quick synopsis, and then on the side, I do other stuff,
Of
just like
course.
yourself. I'm a career coach as well. I just love seeing people um, achieve their professional or business aspiration, right? And I'm also very involved in my community. I'm a facilitator. I'm a community builder. Um, I'm a big believer of technology, leadership, and entrepreneurship as amazing tools to help drive our community forward. So that's a quick synopsis of my background. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So you were a technical person. Like you were an engineer, you were building stuff out, and then you decided, you know what, I want to talk to real people and I want to lead teams. Was that what was that transition like?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I think over time growing up, I think I had the talent for it. Um, as an engineer, I loved what I was doing, enjoyed it. Like I said, I was fortunate enough to work in different domains. I
Hmm.
worked on projects for the biggest car companies for the biggest companies you can think of. You name it, I've worked on. Is it a Tesla? I've done something on it, right? So I've worked on some of the biggest projects out there. But something I quickly realized was while I enjoyed what I was doing, there were some people that were controlling the strings. I was
Mm,
spending my weekend working on projects, and these people were out having fun with their friends and family while I was grinding away with my laptop. And these guys
mm,
were also making more money than me. I'm like, this makes no sense. And when I look at my personal life, at least my friend group or in my family, I'm usually the organizer, right? I'm usually the guy with a spreadsheet. Like my friends would travel with me because they know Kelly would plan the trip to the T. He has the spreadsheet ready to go. Like, what are we doing each day, the time, and everything to the T. And when it finally happened to me, for me, was I was part of this project where I had this new project manager I was working under. It was an experienced project manager, but he came from the business space.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I quickly realized was the project he was working on leading, he was struggling because it was a very technical project. So pretty much I was helping him, or should I say, supporting the customer conversations. Whenever there's any technical situation, he runs back to me. I was pretty much acting as a technical project manager. So that project went through, it was contracted, we delivered the project. In my head, I'm like, Kelly, for the last year and a half, you pretty much managed this project. I think you can actually become like an official project manager. So that's when I started putting the building blocks together, right? Taking classes, watching YouTube videos, just preparing myself. And I was taking like this boot camp. I think within like a month into the boot camp, I already had a job lined up as a PM. That was how
Wow.
aggressive I was. Yeah. But again, it took preparation
Yeah, yeah.
um, from my days as an engineer all the way to when I became a PM. And all I did two interviews and I got the second offer as a PM. So
Wow.
that's how it happened for me. Yeah.
When was this? What year was this?
This was 20, was it 22 or 23? Um, it's still blowing my mind. I think it's between 22 or 23. I think that's when that transition happened for me. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. Wow. Okay, that's so here's what he's saying and here's what he's not saying, right? He was able to get, two jobs or a job and two interviews because he had spent a year and a half as a project manager, right? Unofficially.
Yeah.
And he probably was able to communicate that effectively in those interviews on his resume, right? I think a lot of the time people want to make jumps and they don't think that they're going to have to get some experience, right? And if this
Hmm.
is, working underneath somebody in an official capacity or even building out your own thing, like I, for one, have seen a lot of my clients come to me and say, you know what, I'm trying to transition into this new space. And I'm like, cool,
Mm.
maybe start like selling into this space and using your services in this space and then put that on your resume, right? Instead of trying to get someone to take a chance on you out of nowhere, try and showcase that you're building out these skill sets and whatnot. You
Hmm.
mentioned that you took some classes. What were those classes? What was this boot camp? Give us the
Yeah.
tea.
So the T. YouTube was a very good resource for me. So YouTube
Okay.
for sure, because I could just learn about any topic when it comes to project management. I also spent time on Udemy as well. There was a class I took on Udemy. I think the class was like a 30, 40 hour class. It was run by, I think, some guy called Andrew Ramdyer. Amazing. I think if you're trying to sit for your PMP certification, you should take that class. And it cost me like $19. Nothing. Right?
Wow. Wow.
So, and lucky enough, I think the company I was working for, there was employee reimbursement, like education reimbursement plan. I think we had like $3,000, sorry, $2,500 each year. I was one of the
Okay.
few people I was maxing that budget every year. I would max it out and I would spend extra 1,000 or 2,000 from my pocket. Yeah, that was how aggressive I was going. So I was taking classes from like, Harvard Business School online. There was the boot camp I was taking was with TCA, the career accelerators. It's like a
Okay.
3 months boot camp. It was very instrumental as well. I think Coach Steve, he was very good.
Hmm.
And maybe I took another class at the University of Waterloo as well on project management fundamentals. So all of that packaged with my technical background as an engineer, as well as my experience leading, projects, small to medium-sized projects, I
Yeah.
try to communicate that on my resume. And the moment I was ready, I spoke to my boss. I said, it's time for me to transition. Obviously, he was my engineering manager. It's like, well, Kelly, I am project managers. But here's what I will tell you. I can't stop you because you've worked hard for it.
Really?
You've put your best foot forward. You've shown us that you can do this. And I eventually had to leave the division I was working with. I transitioned to a different division. That's where the role was available. And funny enough, my manager there was a friend to my previous manager. So he told me like, Kelly, I'm going to be the one to sign off on this transition, right?
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
my, I can just tell him like, no, Kelly is bad and you stay here. And he's like, but I can't stop you, Kelly. You've worked hard for it. And yeah, he gave me the green light. He's like, go for it, right? I can't stop you, right? I know it's not money. I can't stop you. Go for it. So that's how it happened for me. So when I had those interviews, they said it. They're like, well, we can see on paper that you're an engineer. You've actually led projects. It's very evident in the way you spoke, and you've also done the academic work to prove you want to be here,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
we'll give you a shot. And that's what happened. Yeah.
Okay. I hope you guys are listening. He is giving us game, right? So you went back, you started with free courses on YouTube. People always sleep on YouTube. The number of times people come to me and they're like, oh, I'm going to go out and get a master's degree. And I'm like, wait, just hold on a second before
Yeah.
you sink 50, 60, $70,000 into a master's degree. Just take a step back, right?
Right.
First of all, you got to assess where you're at. Maybe you already have some of these skills. Maybe you're just trying to get some more like fine tuning of the skill set, right? So you started with YouTube.
Yep.
Then you graduated to online courses on Udemy, Coursera. These are great places to get started. And then you said, you know what? The company is going to pay for it. Do you know
Yeah.
how many people do not max out their learning budget?
They
How
don't
many
even use
people
it.
do
Not even
you
max
know they
out. They don't
have
use
a
it.
yes? So many people don't even know that they have a learning budget, right? And something that people don't even recognize is that some of those times you can use those learning budgets for coaches. So I've had some of my
Yeah.
clients and their companies are paying for career coaching for them, right?
Yeah.
So leadership coaching, career coaching, these types of things, like a lot of these companies can actually fund it for you. So money should not really be something that you're like, I'm not sure. Some of these things are very accessible, right? So you went back to
Absolutely. Yeah.
school, you did a few courses here and there, you maxed out your learning budget, right? And then you did the amazing thing. You asked, you went to your boss and you were like, you know what? I'm ready to make this transition. What do I need to do? When do I need to do it? How am I going to make it work? Like so many of us, and I think like as you were speaking, I was kind of like the audacity of a man. I'm sorry. Because I coach so many women. I coach men, I coach women. And anytime
Yeah.
I'm coaching a man, I'll say do XYZ. By the next week, they've done XYZ, ABC. Meanwhile, the
Yeah.
woman is still like, well, I'm not sure. Will they see me? Am I an imposter? And you're just like, yeah, I went to my boss and I told him what I wanted and I told him I'm ready to move.
Yeah.
The audacity, honestly, right? That's
Yeah.
amazing. And I think that we should all have that audacity because if we know what we want to do, like, let's actually reach for it. No one's going to hand it to us, right? Kelly is someone that is always on LinkedIn talking about no one's coming to save you. No one,
It's the truth,
right?
guys. It's the truth.
And I think that, like, it's funny because you see these things out there and you're like, oh, he's just talking or he's maybe just inspiring. He's like, no, he's lived this life. Like, he has skin in the game. He has lived this life, right?
Yeah.
So when you're kind of going through those negative self-talks or not, having self-doubt about making the transition, like you got to really press into what it is that you want and know that it is going to, like, there is work involved. You're going to
Absolutely.
have to step out of your comfort zone, right? So let's talk about that, right?
Yeah.
What was the biggest mindset shift for you moving from someone that was quite tactical in the engineering space to someone that was now leading projects and managing budgets and managing the business side, right?
Yeah.
Like, what was that mindset shift for you?
Yeah, that's a good question because I think I remember when I transitioned immediately. I would say the first 2 months, I'm not gonna lie. I Yeah, there was a bit of imposter syndrome, but what I always tell people, imposter syndrome is the best feeling I ever had because I use it as rocket fuel, period.
Wow.
It just tells me I'm doing something right. But what happened to me was coming from a place where you control every single thing, the concept, the design, every single thing to the T. The first 2 months as a PM, I was burnt out. And I was
Wow.
asking myself, are you sure you're going to do, are you sure you're able to do this? What happened was, as a PM, I was still functioning with that engineering mindset where there's a task to be done, activity to be done. I would want to do it. I was just taking on work. And what I forgot to realize is, as an engineer, you were this piece of the, what's it called, piece of the puzzle. You take care of your chunk, and then the others take off their chunk. So as a PM, I was going with that same mentality. I wanted to take off everyone's chunk, and I was just like, I like, why do I have so much work? Like I transitioned to PM, so I don't have to work on weekends. Why am I working on the weekend? So I started talking to some of my PM buddies. Are like, oh no, Kelly, here's what you need to do. You need to start developing trust in your team. Understand that you're at a position now where you can't take on every responsibility. You need to start asking yourself, is this something you can take on or you should delegate? So I had
Yeah.
to start learning how to delegate, right? Because even in my friend group, sometimes when I delegate, I'm like, I know he's not going to do it, so I have to do it. But so I had to learn how to delegate and trust my team,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I do is I trust you. I'm going to do my best to equip you with the right resources and tools. Go
Yes.
execute. I would verify the work you've done, right? I trust you, but I'll verify the work you've done. So that was one of the biggest mind shift, just letting go. Just like, all right, I'm not in
Mm-hmm.
control. Let them do it, right? So that was a big one. And then the second piece of that is just learning that I am no longer the performer. I'm no longer the superstar.
Mm.
Learning that I had to be the one to create the environment and be the
Wow.
stage setter. Set the stage, take a step back, and let others perform. Let them be the rock
Yeah.
star. Because
Yeah.
when they become the rock star, I look good. Like they succeed, I look good. So that was the biggest mindset shift for me. Just letting go, setting the stage, taking a step back, being backstage, letting people do the work, and obviously providing the right resources, the right tools, and environment for them to excel. Then
Yeah.
I excel. So that
Yeah.
was the biggest shift for me. Yeah.
So what you are talking about, and people that are paying attention, this is a masterclass in leadership, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people get into leadership thinking, oh, I'm going to get the glory. I'm going to do all these things. I'm going to outperform. Listen, anyone that has led anything knows that it is service. Leadership, it
Yeah.
is service at the core. You are the one that has to set that stage.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot. Leadership will tell you about yourself. Hello, right? When you were
Yeah.
talking about delegating, I was like, ooh, this is the entrepreneurship journey. You start as a solopreneur, then you start getting, some people, some VAs maybe to help you. And then you realize very quickly, like, oh, you're really attached to certain tasks. Why?
Hmm.
So you have to then like walk back where that is coming from. And
Yeah.
then you realize that the task that like is now actually your job, you may or may not know how to do it.
Yeah. Because it's a new space for you, right? So you gotta learn. Yeah.
It's a completely different skill. You may or may not know how to actually delegate. What you said is so key because delegation is not just about giving people a task. It's understanding like who on the team is best suited to do this task. Is
Hmm.
their like competency level up to par? And if it's not, can I provide the tools, the resources to get them up to par? And then can I communicate well enough so they know what I'm asking?
That's
If
key. That's key. Because you gotta be clear and precise, right? Yeah.
that's a mindset shift for sure, for sure, for sure, for sure, right? Thank you for taking us through that. I think a lot of people they focus too much on the external stuff, right?
Hmm.
Especially in this tech space. A lot of people want to get into tech for the money, for the glitz, for the glamour, and then they don't realize that like there's a lot of work that needs to be done on yourself, your leadership skills, your capabilities, all of that kind of stuff to be able to make that transition, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep.
let's talk about the second transition you made. For those of you guys that don't know, Kelly said peace to Canada a couple months ago and moved to the US, right? Went, south of the border. That interesting place. Our big brother as Canadians, right? After 12 years of living in Canada, you packed your bags, you moved to the west coast of the US. I have so many questions, right? I have so many questions. Who, what, when, why, how? Right? I'll start with the first
Yeah,
one. Why did you decide to make this move?
that's a good question. I know last year in December when we connected in Lagos, I was telling you like I'm actually considering the US.
And then 2 seconds later, one
I did it. Yeah. So I think just before we hopped on this call with the audience, I think we were talking backstage where I said, when it's time to go, it's time to go.
day.
Um, First and foremost, I'm going to give credit to Canada. Canada still remains my home. It's one of the most beautiful countries I've been to with
Mm,
amazing people. So I'm always going to be forever grateful to Canada. I'm actually going to be in Canada next month. And sometimes when people hear my story, like, oh, he's so ungrateful, I'm like, no, 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 no. First and foremost, I'm grateful to Canada. Canada gave me everything,
mm,
literally.
mm.
Canada gave me my first real job, gave me amazing relationships. My family lives in Canada now. I've got a second passport, so I don't have to deal with the green book. Um,
So, for those of you that don't
and
know, that's the Nigerian passport.
that's a Nigerian passport, yeah. And the reason why I just threw that in there is because for some reason I'm getting some heat on Twitter right now because of Nigerian passport. But it is what it is. Well, I really don't care, right? Come on, I've been in this game too
You've
long.
never
I've
cared
got
about these things, though.
yeah,
I
I've
feel
got
like
some
you. I
strong
feel like
skin.
you love haters. I feel like you feed off of haters.
Well, I'm a contrarian, so I try not to move with the crowd. Period. I think in society we agree too much, right? We just move as one bunch. Like there needs to be someone that thinks outside the box. So, but sorry to digress. But I think my time came, and I did very well in Canada. I excelled. I was doing very well from a career point of view, from a business point of view, from a personal point of view, and I know myself. I like to push beyond my boundaries.
Mm,
And I got to the point where in Canada, I was running to a brick wall in terms of things I want to do in my career, in my business. And I'm like, okay, I need a bigger market to do this. And the biggest market in the globe is the US. And it's just, in my backyard. So
mhm, mhm.
I decided to, all right, I'm just going to look that way. I quickly realized that the market is even bigger than what I expected.
Really?
Yes, I was this close to moving to the US in 2020? Yeah. I had an offer. Then I was a permanent resident of Canada. I was trying to buy my first property. And when the opportunity came, I'm like, oh, do I just pack up and leave now? And guess what happened? COVID happened. So I'm
Mm,
like, oh, thank you, COVID. I don't have to go. So I didn't feel bad that our opportunity went away. And even after COVID went, the company kept on coming back to me like, hey, Kelly, are you ready to move? Are you ready to move? I was like,
really?
no, the timing isn't right. And towards the end of last year and early this year, I think it was a perfect time for me. I wanted to challenge myself. I wanted to try something different. And I work in technology. If you want to work at the center of technology, you come out to Silicon Valley, and that's where I moved to.
Good for you.
Like again, once the time is right, and I look at the numbers. I think personally, I think my transition to the US is actually one of the best timing because if you look at the Canadian market right now, from housing to business to career, it's struggling at the moment,
A
right?
little bit.
So I feel there's a bit of me that like, oh, you abandon your people, but I'm like, at the end of the day, right? You got to look out for yourself. If you can't take care of yourself, you can't really take care of others. So that's
Mm,
why I made the pivot. Yeah,
wow, that's really powerful. That's really powerful. I felt very similar when I was quitting my full-time job to do my business. I was running a
yeah,
team, and I always felt, wow, am I really going to abandon my team? But ultimately, like you said, I had to do what was best for me, because if I'm not progressing and growing, then nobody can, or nobody that I'm trying to help can, right? And I
yeah,
remember, going in and actually resigning, and my team was very happy for me. They were like, yeah, we know that you're better than where we're at. And like, we're excited
oh,
for your next step. And like, we're happy that you finally, took the leap. And I was like, okay, take the leap, and like, God will walk you through the next step. Right. So
yeah,
that is
yeah,
really powerful. And I think I really love the fact that you mentioned that it wasn't easy and it took years. It took years. And that's the
yeah,
thing. People on social media, on LinkedIn, you just see the highlights, you see the move, you see the like, okay, and I mean, you don't know that it's been years of back and forth. Should I not? Is this the right time? When is the right time? Is this the right job? When is the right job? Like
Yeah,
it takes a ton of time to make that decision. And even when you make that decision, the first couple of weeks when you know encounter something that you didn't expect, you're asking
that's
yourself,
second guessing yourself. Like, did I
was
make
this
the
the
right
right
move?
move? Yeah, yeah. Listen, I feel that on a spiritual level with you. So tell us how. How did you make this move, right? Because a lot of us Canadians have at one point said, you know what, the US is a bigger market, there's more
Yeah,
opportunities, try and make that move. I remember back in 2016 thinking, you know, I was going to move to New York. I started the process, started looking into it, and then quickly recognized this thing is not easy. There's
yeah,
like specific degrees based on like NAFTA requirements that can easily transition. And if you're not part of that group, you have to go through, you know, H1 visa, J1 visa, all these other types of visas. And then you realize that they don't really give that many options, even for Canadians. Like,
yeah.
you very quickly recognize that as a Canadian moving to the US, it's actually not a straightforward process. So walk us through in as much detail as you want, right?
Hmm.
So maybe you can do a master class and charge people to come and hear your story because I know a lot of Canadians are interested in moving to the US. But tell us how you made that move. Like, what was that actual journey like?
Yeah, yeah. So, like you said, right, there's a couple of visas available for you to apply to. You've got a H-1B, which is like a lottery system, and you're getting direct sponsorship from the company who's bringing you over. And then you have like EB1, EB2 visas. That one, those are a bit more involved, where you need like a master's or at least how I think 5 years of experience or something like that. And then there's the TN visa, which is for me personally, I think is the easiest path for Canadians. Yes, I think there's some restrictions when it comes to the careers or the job titles they're looking for. There's some
Yeah,
restriction. I think
yeah,
if let's say you just have like a business degree, they don't really care. They're like, no, we have enough business people.
yeah,
We need
yeah.
more, more core technology related kind of project people. Like I think doctors and nurses. Which are
Mhm.
the set of people they're looking for? I think those are the sort of people they're looking for. Very like high crazy industries. Those are what they're looking for.
Yeah,
Because when it comes to
yeah,
business, let's be honest, America has a lot of those people. So I don't think they need more of it, right? They need the engineers, the technologies, the innovators. That's what they're looking for. And thankfully, I've got an engineering degree. I've worked as an engineer. I've worked on amazing projects. So when I was ready to move, I asked myself, okay, I need to get an EB1 or EB2, but that would take a long process. Okay, would it be possible for me to get a role in the US and just get my TN visa? At least just go past the border first and then
yeah,
figure it out after.
yeah.
Because in life, sometimes you don't have to figure everything out from the start, right? Just
Woo!
you got to start, right?
You
You
need to
you
say
have to
that
start
again. You need to
nonetheless.
wait. You need to say that again. I'm so sorry. You need to say that again.
Guys, it's life. Yeah, sometimes you figure stuff out from the start. It's okay to plan, but in life, sometimes you don't have to figure it all out from the start because you don't know. I'm not an immigration or visa expert, so I can sit here in Canada for the next 2 years trying to figure it out, or I could just
Mm.
get going now, right? And that's
Oof.
what I did. So the TM route is what I took. So if you are an engineer, you work in cybersecurity, in data, software engineering, those are the kind of people the folks here in the US are looking for. So when they ask you, oh, are you looking for sponsorship? The answer is no, I'm Canadian. I don't need sponsorship. I just need an offer later from you and I'm good.
Mm.
That's it. So, my visa took 10 minutes at the airport when I was flying to California. That was it. Right. I brought my offer letter, brought my degree, my PN as well, and that was it. Easy. So to me,
All
that
of
process
people have an
is
engineering
easy.
degree.
Voila. But here's what I would say: there's a caveat to it. Right. There's some employers that are very strategic with the TN visa because now they are realizing H1B, it's a process, EB1 is a process. So now a lot of them are actually starting to. Now I think there's actually a movement where they're actually tapping into the Canadian market because they
Really?
think it's cheaper labor. And let me break it down for you. So here in California, a company sees a project manager, right? Typically, they would pay that person, let's say 250, 270K. But then they will go to Canada and offer you 200, 220K. The truth
Mm,
is, as a Canadian, that's a lot of money that you're just going to
compared,
grab it with two
yeah,
hands.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't care.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Give it to
100%.
me. Right. So
Yep.
now a lot of them are starting to look into Canada. And they're also, some of them also trying to game the system in a very interesting way.
Yeah.
Where I'll give you an example. I know someone that I think she went to school to study. I think our undergraduate was biochemistry, right? So that is one of the degrees they're looking for. However, she works under biochemistry. There's like there's natural sciences, there's chemistry. So for her, she works as a is it dietitian, nutritionist, nutritionist, I think so, something like that, right?
Mhm, mhm.
So it's just the way the company presented the offer. Whereas like, oh, we need her degree as a biochemist,
Mm,
right? And this is the role she's going to be performing. That's all they
gotcha.
care about. So it doesn't scream you're a biochemist, right? It's the way it's presented to immigration, right?
This thing
So
that
we
you
do see some
see.
people, yeah, it's key.
Okay.
People need to pay attention, right?
Yes.
It's key. So if you've got some biochemistry degree, you've got something that they can use, that's fine. There are a lot of good lawyers that work with these companies that craft letters. You take it to the immigration reads through it, asks you a couple of questions, approves, stamps your passport, next, right? So, and that's what happened to me. So for me, yes, I'm a technical project manager, so it requires me to have an engineering background.
Hmm.
So some random business PM cannot function in my role, unfortunately. So the way it was presented to immigration is engineer slash technical project manager, period. And that was it. That's what I presented. The guy read it. Okay. Read what the company was doing, looked at the responsibilities. Okay. Stamp next. And that was it.
Good for you. Good for you. So you guys tap into TN Visa if you have one of those. Again, there's specific degrees that they're looking for. If you have
Yeah.
one of those degrees and you're really ready to move and make that, that shift from, Canada to the US, this is a really great opportunity. Let's switch gears a little bit and talk about the thing that both of us absolutely love doing, which is mentorship, right? Um, between the two of us, we're always talking to people about going for more and transitioning well and like looking into this, looking into that. Obviously, both of us are career coaches and we
Yeah.
work in different kind of fields. But at the core of what we do, even outside of our businesses, we're always mentoring people, right?
Yep.
I want to talk about what mentorship has meant for you as a professional. Like, who are your mentors, and like, how has that network of people really propelled your career, your transition, all of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, that's a good question. So I view mentorship in a very interesting way. I know a lot of people are running to go look for mentors, mentor me, mentor me. I get a request every other day. And unfortunately, these days, I don't have the bandwidth. So I just tell them, sorry, bro, I don't have the bandwidth to mentor you.
Can I say one
And
thing before you keep going?
yeah.
Don't do that, people. Like, don't ask random strangers on the internet to mentor you. Like, it's really weird. Like, it's really, really weird to do that. I think mentorship is something that like you either go through in a formal mentorship program where you
Mhm.
sign an agreement and they match you with a mentor, or you build up mentorship organically, right? Those are the really two ways to actually solicit and get mentors. Do not reach out to random people on LinkedIn to mentor you. I don't know you. I do
I don't
not
know
know
you.
you. If you want coaching, coaching is different. Mentorship is one thing, coaching is another thing, right?
Correct.
The number of
Correct.
times you get just people in completely different industries, completely different spaces asking you to mentor them. No. Another thing, actually, one more thing, and I'll say, and then I'll get you to finish, is people can also mentor you without you actually knowing who they are. Meaning, all of us are sharing content online. All of us have programming that we put out there. All of us are doing speaking engagements. You
Yeah.
can follow along our careers and you
Yeah.
can, finesse it. You can understand it. You can, combine chat GPT, our experiences, our anecdotes, podcasts, like what we're doing right now. This could speak to you.
Mhm.
This could be the
Yeah.
first part of your journey, right? So don't ask random people on the internet to mentor you. Please don't do it. Join a
Yeah.
mentorship program or build up that organically or just watch people and start to build that up. But I just wanted to say that.
Yeah.
Back to what your mentors have meant for you.
No, fair point, fair point, and I agree. Sometimes I do let some slip through the cracks where they're random. They just meet me and like, oh, I want you to mentor me. Have I taken people like that? Absolutely, but it's a select few. Just because I was able to observe them from afar, and I'm like, okay, this person is aggressive, they're tenacious, and I see how ambitious they are. Yes, okay. Because I think mentorship can be a waste of my time. I don't want to mentor someone where you're walking in the street, you're not putting in the work, and then someone asks you, who's your mentor? No, it's Kelly Boy. No, I'm not going to mentor you like that. Sorry. And I agree with you. For me personally, at this moment, I don't believe I have. Okay, actually, I was going to say something that was not true. I do have a mentor right now, but it's more like a speech mentor, right? Trying to improve my speech and my stage performance, executive presence, all of that. But I would say most of my mentors are digital.
Yeah,
I get mentorship from a distance. All
yeah.
right. I've met all of these people in person and I tell them, like, hey, I look up to you, inspire me. And I follow your step. Like, I follow you closely. Right. There's a lot of things to learn. Some people ask me, for example, how did you unlock LinkedIn? I'm like, guys, there's just two people I follow on LinkedIn that, like Lara Costa
Yeah,
and Toby Oluwale.
yeah.
Follow them to the T. I don't have to go pay 10 grand to go learn LinkedIn. No, I just followed and I cracked it. Now I have my own ideas that I'm putting out there, but I watch them and I follow them. So that's how I get most of my mentorship. So yes, you can actually get mentorship from a distance. And the truth be told, I think it's actually one of the best ways you can get mentorship because um, it's not good to have too many mentors like in person that just keep telling you different things. I think have one or two and then just
Hmm.
watch people from afar. So that's the best way I take mentorship. Yes, in cases where I need to actually speak to someone about a particular topic, yeah, maybe I'll try a coach or actually go meet someone where I know they've done it and I just talk to them. I don't ask them, hey, can you be my mentor? I don't think I've actually asked anyone apart from one person, hey, can you be my mentor? It's
Hmm.
really those exchange. And by the way, guys, mentorship is a two-way street. Before you go
Yes.
to someone to mentor you, again, it's mentorship, so it's not paid. Coaching is paid. Mentorship is not really paid, right? So when you go to approach someone to mentor you, you need to understand that you must be bringing value to the table. You bring value, and if you see that value, if it's worth something, they would offer you value in return. So it's a two-way street, right? And sometimes this value, the value you're looking for is up here, and the value they're looking for is down here. It's okay. It doesn't matter. But make sure you're bringing value. That's how it works. So for me, that's how I do mentorship. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's amazing. That's amazing. I think that you're absolutely right. There's so much mentorship that you can get digitally. Reading books, podcasts, like people doing the things that you want to be doing and like following along. And like sometimes you have access to reach out to those people and have conversations. Sometimes you don't, right? I think that this whole idea, again, what Kelly was saying and what Kelly always says, no one is coming to save you. No one's coming to save you.
No, absolutely no
No
one.
one's
No one.
coming to be like,
Absolutely no one.
here's my hand, let's walk through it together. No, you're going to take pieces of information and then you're going to apply it where
Yeah.
it makes sense. Right. I think that, I had a really good mentor once and he told me, he's like, have a personal like board of directors for your career. Right.
Mhm.
The way you think about a board of directors that work for any corporation or even a nonprofit, right? They usually have different functions, right? So there's a board of directors that is overseeing a nonprofit. They usually will have someone that's good with HR, someone that's good with raising funds, someone that's good with, management, and everyone's bringing a different thing to the table. If you have that for yourself, a personal board of directors, then you're able to know who to go to for what, right? So I don't believe in like Kelly said, hearing from all these people about all these different areas of your life all the time because it can get very confusing, right? I'm a Christian. For
Mhm.
me, like God is my center. That's my direction. That's where I'm going to first, right?
Yeah.
However, he has given me tools, he's given me access to people, he's given me favor to look around and see who do I actually have access to, right? It's very practical is create a quick Google Doc. Who are the people that you actually have access to? What specific areas can they speak into, right? And what is their contact information? I feel like that one's like the one that we fall through the cracks, right? Um, when we're in those panic modes, we start stressing about like, oh, I have to figure this out by myself. You don't have to figure it out by yourself. Sometimes you can actually ask for support. But if you don't know who you have in your corner, you don't know what they can help you with, they're going to go to the wrong person for the wrong thing. Like Kelly said, all of us are now, all of us are on LinkedIn. Our mentors are Toby Ruoli, Ali Rizakos, like there are a few of them, right? The
Yeah.
LinkedIn leads, right? You go and you see, okay, this is what they're doing about this, right? I'm not necessarily going to go to Toby to learn how to do coaching or burnout coaching because that's not his
Yeah.
expertise, right? I
Yeah.
have a lot of experience helping people navigate burnout and navigate managing, different things and seasons that they're going through, right? And I also know
Hmm.
where I get support with that. So knowing who to go to for what, really, 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 really important, right?
Yeah.
Um, okay, so we're winding down this conversation, right? I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about some of the other things that you're doing outside of this, just your career pivot in engineering, project management. You mentioned quite a few times that you're a career coach. Where did that come from, and like how has it been, and like where are you going? And this is me just wanting to like pick your brain.
Yeah. I think the way it happened for me, it was accidental. Where I think I had good role models. I just when I started my career, people I looked up to, and fortunately enough for me, I had enough resilience and tenacity where I got into spaces where I was either the only one or maybe one of two black people in the
Mm,
space. Right, working
really?
in robotics and automation in Canada, I can vividly remember there was no one I can remember working in that space as an engineer then. I know when I was transitioning from that space, I met another guy working in this space. I'm like, oh, finally, another one of us. Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, because of that, being one of the few, a lot of people wanted to be in my position. So, naturally, they just approached me. And these are people that were like elder to me. Some of them have like years of experience. And in my head, I'm just like, okay, sure. Here's what I did, right? So I was just telling them, bro, this is what I did. Right? Do it too. And that was it. So it wasn't like, oh, I went, I made this grand plan to become a coach. I was helping people write resumes. I think I've written at least over 1,000 resumes because at least the resumes I've touched, right?
Yeah.
I've written so much resumes where I'm like, guys, I can just close my eye and be done with the resume that quick, right? I don't do it anymore. I have my team handle all of that. But that's how it started for me. And it got to the point where I started getting overwhelmed when it's just the amount of people reaching out to me, all right? Even with like 500, 1,000 connection on LinkedIn, people were still reaching out to me. And I spoke to like a mentor then. I'm like, hey, just so many people reaching out to me. I go to work, I close, I come back, I go to the gym, I study, and then I have to spend an hour or two trying to talk to someone or a group of people about career and stuff. It's like, well, Kelly, if they're coming to you, that means you found like there's a product market fit there or service market fit, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you convert this to a service where you charge them to speak to you, or they want you to do the resume? Maybe charge them for you to do the resume. And I remember vividly the first resume I did was for a friend. I remember she paid me, I think it was $20 or $25. In my head,
No
I'm like,
way.
oh, wow,
Right?
$25? Ooh, bro, I'm balling, yo, right? So I created a resume for her, and then and then she actually brought the next client. I think I charged on her. I charged pretty much the same. I think she paid me $20, and then the next person I charged 25, right? And then I was doing that for a little bit. I'm like, yeah, I'm spending too much time on this resume. $25 doesn't cut it. And then I bumped it to like $50, and then $100.
Especially for
Now
jobs that like what they're gonna earn 200K, 150K.
exactly. I'm like, exactly. So I'm like, really? So I think these days we don't take how much do we charge? I think like $200 to look at your resume. But that's how it started for me, and eventually it grew into proper coaching. So I had to like put a service together. I had to like build a brand around it, and website and everything. So I was already doing coaching and mentorship on the side even before I had a website. I was doing a lot of through LinkedIn, right? Through LinkedIn, through Instagram. And like I said, because I was fortunate enough to, in my career, to be able to work in various projects where I was just in different spaces that people wanted to be. it was natural for them to approach me. So that's how it started for me. And I would say so far it's going. It's also part of the reason why I'm here because again, I'm nurturing my brand on LinkedIn as this person that wants you to grow, not just in your career, but in life and business. And those are some of the things some of the recruiters saw on my LinkedIn that when she called me, she said, "Hey, I knew we had to get you the moment I saw your LinkedIn, right? I knew for
Really?
so yeah, and I'm still doing it. It is a lot of work, right? Especially with the time difference, because again, I'm also trying to balance, trying to talk to people on the East Coast versus West Coast. Um, this is going to be my retirement plan. I don't believe it will. I think this is just one of those steps you take on before you get to the next thing, right? But would I keep coaching from now till I leave planet Earth? Very likely, but I don't think this will be my grand, business where. But we'll see. Who knows, right? Maybe I'm supposed to just career coach. Maybe next I will be like leadership coach or maybe executive coach. Who knows? Well, we'll see.
Yeah, yeah. No, I love that your process into this industry wasn't money or I need to just give my expertise. It was literally from I'm just sharing about my life and I'm passionate about what I'm doing and people can recognize that and then they come
Yeah.
to you, right? Um, yeah, no, I so many people join career coaching or coaching in general because of it can be quite lucrative depending on how you position it, right?
Yeah.
But you always can tell the coaches that are there for people and
Absolutely.
people's just growth and development as a whole, right? Because you guys, our careers, what we do for a living, how we spend most of our time, is important. It's
Hmm.
really important. And so many of us are in the wrong opportunities. It's something like 79% of Canadians experience career regret because they've
It's a big
chosen the
number.
wrong thing. That's a massive number. People
Yeah.
choose their career based on, their family members. Oh, my dad was a lawyer, so now I'm a lawyer. Their friends, everyone's going to UBC. Let's all go to UBC and take all
You
the same
see?
courses. Like, or people choosing based off of just pure status. Oh, investment bankers, they look cool, but they're burning out left, right, and center. Or
Yeah.
even money, guys. Let's talk about that, right? Sometimes, yes, we go for the money, but you also need to have like interests. You also need to have abilities. Like, I can't tell you
Hmm.
how many times people are just like, I'm gonna engineering software. Let me go learn how to code, and they hate it and they're not good at it. And then they come to me with, "Oh, I'm feeling imposter syndrome." You are an imposter.
See?
You are an imposter. That's why you're feeling
Oh my
imposter
days.
syndrome. Like, how did you get there? How did you
Oh
find yourself
man.
in cybersecurity? You are a nurse. Your
I
skill
know.
set, your interest is nursing.
Yeah.
Hey,
You can't fault them from trying, but
like what we're not saying today is, hey, make a pivot. It's quick. It's easy. There's money over here. No, we're not saying that. We're saying if you truly know that leadership, project management, service is part of your abilities, your interests, your skill set, this is how to do it. We're not saying change your life, become a project manager, be like Kelly, move to the US, be in Silicon Valley. Kelly told us he's an engineer. He started as an engineer building things. This is his life passion. Kelly builds things for fun. I've been watching
yep.
your LinkedIn. You're always just looking for problems to solve, building things. This person is someone that is passionate about innovation, passionate about this industry. He's not just out here like, oh, this is the biggest thing. Let me go and work in Silicon Valley and drive a Tesla and stunt on the ground. Nah, it's not about that. You're laughing, but how many of us are feeling that? Can I be very honest with you? There was a point where I was gonna go into tech sales.
I think you'll do well.
Of course, I would do
I
well,
think you'll
but
do
can
well.
you
Yeah.
imagine me, my life goal, making tech companies, already rich tech companies, even richer? What would that do for
Yeah.
my soul?
It will make you. Here's the funny thing. It would actually make you rich as well. The funny thing is this, right? A couple of years ago, as an engineer, Like when I started like plotting out my career path, I'm like, okay, project management this. And then I made a funny joke one time. And someone said, in a couple of years, I see you. I wouldn't be surprised, Kelly, if you become a commercial guy. Like you actually become one of like the sales lead. I'm like, really? Like, yeah. And once you realize this, especially here in California or at least in the US, the sales guys are the ballers. I'm not
Mhm.
kidding. Like I
Of
go to
course they
events,
are.
these guys are pulling up in like McLarens, Ferraris. I'm like, bro, what are you selling? What do you do for work? He's like, oh,
Technology.
I'm in tech sales.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, what?
There's plenty money there.
So
I
maybe
know.
that's
I
my
go
next
all
space.
the
Who
way.
knows,
Like
right?
I got interviews. I got all the way. TikTok, Twitter. I got there, and then something in my spirit kept telling me, like, this is not passion aligned work. It's not.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It is not like there's no way to spin it. I realized very quickly that it just was not passion aligned work. And if I was to go there, yes, I would do well. But what is that Bible verse? What does it profit a man to gain the world and lose his soul? Listen,
You don't want to lose
that
your soul.
thing
I get it.
that thing, I have it like literally everywhere. So a reminder. So what we're not saying is blow up your life, go become, this project manager and move to the US and do all these things. We're saying if you have these skill sets, if you have these interests, and you're struggling with the how, and you're struggling with the mindset of, should I be doing this? The self-doubt of it all, this is a blueprint that you can follow, right? This is someone that you can reach out to. I'm so sorry, Carrie. I know yeah, you're mentioning that a lot of people are reaching out to you, but it's because you have something to share, right? It's because you
Yeah.
have something to share. Um, I'm not going to drag this conversation for much longer. I feel like we've had a really rich discussion already. One last thing that I wanted to put out there is for you, Kelly. What is um, what is one lesson that you wish you had known before you made this pivot?
Okay. So are we talking about the pivot to the US or pivot from engineering to project management?
Pivot to the US.
What is one lesson I knew? Oh. I think, and maybe this is not actually related to career, but, well, okay, maybe one of them is the US values talent more than Canada, period.
Hmm.
And it's
Wow.
evident on the conversation, period. Fortunate enough, if you're coming to the US to work, especially in Silicon Valley, you will get a very high base comp, and you also get equity compared to all the companies that work for Canada, where all you had was your base comp, which was not high enough. Let's start there, and then you don't have equity. Yeah, they let you buy stock at a cheap, like a cheaper rate, but that's it. But here in the US, you get equity. So all the sweat you're putting in, as you've seen that stock price go up, you're getting richer.
Coming back to
And
yeah.
yeah, and the company I work for, at least since I joined, the stock has gone up six, seven fold. So, my equity is doing very, very good.
Oh my
So I'm
shit,
in a
this
happy place.
now, Kelly. Oh
That's
my
what I'm
shit.
sharing to you guys now. um, so that's one big one for sure.
Yeah.
Um, then there's some other things I quickly realized, which was, it could be an expensive mistake, which I did, but
Ooh,
I think I'll tell you guys so you guys don't do it. First thing here is in the US, every single thing is tied to social security number. Every single thing, phone, getting a line, getting a house, every single thing, bank account. You can't do much without it. So just get ready. And compared to Canada, where you can walk into Service Canada and get social security in one day, you got to wait 2 weeks here in the US. So like you walk
really?
in, yeah. So that was something I did not know. I had to like I was driving literally driving back to the office every day for the first one week. And like, guy, it's gonna be 2 weeks. We've told you this. It's typically 2 weeks. I'm like, man, right? And then I was asking some of my friends, they're like, yeah, it's 2 weeks. I'm like, man, that's a shock to me. Um, and then if you're moving out here, I would say this is an expensive mistake I made. I was able to like ship my car down here. Some people drive their car over, but the issue is for some Canadian cars, some, not all, especially if it's not like a high end car, like maybe like a Mercedes or a BMW. At least here in the US, there's a requirement where your car needs to have a tire pressure sensor. Not every car in Canada has it because we don't have regulation in Canada for that. If your car, some cars have it in Canada, I've seen it, right? But it's not a requirement for
Yeah,
the
yeah,
car
yeah,
to
yeah.
have it. So when you bring your car over, you're allowed to drive your car up to about a year, but you need to eventually register your car. And if your car does not have that system, you can't register it. So I made the expensive mistake of bringing my car over. I couldn't register it, so I had to send it back to Canada. It was expensive, right? So it's like $2,500 shipping it here, and then $2,500 shipping it back. By the way, that's in USD, right? Not Canadian. So do the math in Canadian. So so that's an expensive mistake for sure. I think when I was moving, I wasn't aware of. And even when I was reading online, I couldn't see a lot of materials about it online. Yeah, a lot of people were like, "Oh yeah, you can do this, you can install it, you can do this." There was one of my friend that moved over as well. He installed it, but according to regulation, you can't install an aftermarket part. It's you just cannot do it. So I'm like, all right, we're shipping our cars back. So that's what we're doing. Yeah.
Ooh, child. This is the thing. This is the cost that people don't recognize. When you are new in a country, there's so many costs that, and you can't know what you don't know, right?
Yeah.
Right, which is why it's really good to have more conversational type things versus just focusing on the main, like, oh, I need a job. It's like, yes, but you need to also talk to people around all the nuances of moving your life, shifting your life, right? Changing your communities, finding like different, like there's so much that's involved. So like Kelly
Yeah.
said, like take your time, go through the process, lean on your community, start to build that out, right? And know your
Yeah.
why, know why it is that you want to move, right? Have like a strong reason for that.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give us the last 4 minutes or so. Both of us are career coaches, right? This is, an opportunity to give back to the community as, conversation out loud, but both of us run
Yeah.
businesses, right? So I'll talk about my program that I'm launching. And then Kelly, if you have anything that you're launching as well, feel free to talk about it. But I'm going to be running a 6-week program, a group coaching program on career pivots, right? So the idea is I'm taking 5 to 10 people on the journey of actually making a pivot, right? It's in a group cohort. We'll start with like where you're at currently, like what's holding you up, like where you're at just in life. And then we'll talk about where you want to go. So we'll help you map out what it is that you want to do. So some people already know and they just don't know the how, but some people don't even
Yeah.
know. You just know that they're stuck or they're burnt out and they just need something to change. Right. And then we spend the remaining 3-4 weeks talking about how to actually make that change. So we work on your documentation, resume, your LinkedIn profile. We work on your communication, your personal brand and putting yourself out there and communicating and building that network. We work on actually like applying, interviewing, negotiating your compensation, all of that kind of stuff. And then we help you basically make that transition, right? We've run
Yeah.
this cohort twice now. This is going to be the third cohort, potentially be the last. We'll talk through it, but I'm very excited to sort of launch this. It's going to be launching in October, so keep an eye out for my emails. But that is my spiel. Kelly, do you have anything to plug?
Do I have anything to plug? That's a good question. Yeah, I think you guys can find me on LinkedIn. You can also check out my website, Consult with Kelly, Consult with a K. Funny you mentioned group coaching session. A couple of weeks ago, I made a post on LinkedIn where I'm like, "Hey guys, it's a lot on my plate these days where I'm not having enough time. But let me try something out, like a 1 hour office time, where anyone is free to drop in." So we had over 100 people show interest,
Wow.
and I think our first session would be. I don't think it's next week. I think it's the weekend after next. Just a 1 hour session. Link is going to be available. I'll put it out there. Just join. It's a group session. It's going to be 1 hour max. It's not recorded. You show up. If only 2 people show up, we'll talk and we go. That's it.
Is this a
So
paid
watch out for
session or is
that.
this a free session?
No, I don't. I don't want it paid. At least not yet.
Okay.
I don't want to pay. Again, this is a free session. This is me literally giving back to the community. It's a 1 hour office time. You show
Amazing.
up. And the reason why I do that is because it's a group session. I'll try to balance everyone's question around, right? And then go from there. If someone needs more in-depth coaching one-on-ones, you know where to find me, right?
Absolutely.
Straight to my website and pay on there. But this
There
one
you
is free
go. Straight
from
to the
my end.
website.
Yeah, and they can ask me anything, right? My transition to the US, transition from engineering to project management, how to become a coach, you name it, all other stuff I do outside, my community work, all of those things. They can ask me those questions. I think the only thing that is off the question bucket would be my personal life. Don't ask me anything about it. I won't answer that.
You
Yeah.
actually have to be friends with Kelly to get the tea, okay? You can't just be, someone on the internet looking for career pivots. Thank you so much for joining us today. I think that we learned a lot. This was a fantastic session. I learned a lot. I attempted to move to the US as well. The attempt was not very high.
You still can.
It
You
took
just
me
never
about a
know.
year to think through it, and it just was not coming together. So I was like, maybe it's not worth it, right? But thank you for sharing your experience. You can obviously find Kelly on LinkedIn. You can find myself on LinkedIn. Our websites are going to be linked in our bios and all of that kind of stuff. Feel free to book calls if you want to learn more about either of our programming. But yes, very excited. Thank you all for joining us on a Saturday. We made it. It was a fantastic conversation. And stay tuned for next week. Next week, we have Danica Nelson. She's going to be talking about entrepreneurship and burnout and navigating a switch from a very, intense corporate career to now being like a lifestyle content creator, talking to people about like building out businesses from a creator perspective. But see you next week, and we'll keep chatting. Thank you all. Bye-bye.